Hello, my dearest pre-calculus students. We are now in Quarter 2, Topic 15, Part 2, which talks about sum and difference identities. The learning outcomes of the lesson. At the end of the lesson, the students is able to derive trigonometric identities involving sum and difference of two angles, simplify trigonometric expressions using the fundamental trigonometric identities and sum and difference identities, prove other trigonometric identities using fundamental trigonometric identities and sum and difference identities, and solve situational problems involving trigonometric identities. In previous lesson, we introduced the concept of trigonometric identity presented in the fundamental identities and proved sum identities. In this lesson, we derive the sum and difference identities for cosine, sine, and tangent functions, establish the cofunction identities, and prove more trigonometric identities. Okay, our first cosine difference identity is cosine of A minus B is the same as cosine A, cosine B plus sine A, sine B. And then cosine sum identity is cosine A plus B is equal to cosine A, cosine B minus sine A, sine B. So, sa dyan na pagsagono, ang cos A minus B is cos sin sin. So, minus ganit na plus ang between sa cos o sin. And cosine A plus B, that would be equal to cos minus sin. Cos sin. Diba? Sa dyan na pag-memorize. Okay. Example 3.5.1. Find the exact values of cosine 105 and cosine pi over 12. Okay. So, if we are going to if we are going to recall sa atong mga function, special function, what ay cosine of 105, right? Na by cosine of 105? No. But, if we are going to use katong mga 60 degrees, 30 degrees, katong special bitaw sa katong circle, ang 105, pwede na nimo himuon nimo sum or difference. So, pwede siya sum, right? It would be a cosine of 60 plus 45. Diba? Or, sa may lain. Kung minus imong gamiton, pwede siya o lamang po ano. $105 plus 40. Okay, sige ka na lang kung nasadyon ang plus, no? So, we have okay, ato ang gigamit na cosine 60 plus 45. So, it is sum of two functions. So, that is why using this one, kaning sum of a plus b. So we can express this one with cosine 60 cos 45. Okay, plus man na, so minus na. Then sine 60. Then sine 45. Okay? So after ana, imong i-relate katong mga values. No? So we have muna ang 45. Mo pwede ang 60 dire. Okay? So what is cosine 60? Cosine 60 is naman na siya pi over 6. No, 13 ang pi over 6. Di maong. Di ara dire. Pi over 3. Or 60. So, ang cosine sa 60 is, pila man? It's 1/2, right? And then cosine of 45 is mone. It's square root of 2 over 2. Then, minus sine mo sa 60 kay longer leg man. So, we have square root of 3 over 2 times sine sa 45 is the square root of 2 over 2. Diba? Ang 45 is pi over 4. So, simplifying, it would be equal now to square root of 2 over 4 minus square root of 6 over 4. That's why, since they have the same denominator, we just simply copy the denominator and copy the numerator. Square root of 2 minus square root of 6 all over 4. Okay, what about pi over 12? We have cosine of pi over 12. So since over 12 man, we can express it as, let us try pi over 4 and pi over 6. So what are we going to do with them? So we have 12 divided by 4 is 3 times pi is 3 pi. Then 12 divided by 6 is 2 times pi is 2 pi. So imong i-minus to get pi over 12. So that's why ang cosine of pi over 12 is the same as cosine of pi over 4 minus pi over 6. Okay? And this will be the same as cosine of pi over 4, cosine of pi over 6. Since this is minus, so therefore it should be plus here, and then sine pi over 4, then sine pi over 6. Okay? Again, using our circle here, we have pi over 6 kaning 30 na. Okay, so that's why cosine of pi over 4 is, yun sa 45 at ang gamiton, it should be square root of 2 over 2. Then cosine of pi over 6, cosine here is ang longer leg man, so therefore it's square root of 3 over 2. Then plus, sine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. Then sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. Simplifying, it should be square root of 6 over 4 plus square root of 2 over 4. So since they have the same denominators, we have to copy 4, and then the numerator also will be copied. Okay, dili pwede. We cannot combine, or we cannot add square root of 6 and square root of 2. So therefore, the answer for cosine of pi over 12 is square root of 6 plus the square root of 2 all over 4, while cosine of 105 is equal to square root of 2 minus square root of 6 all over 4. Okay, so that's all for 3.5.1. Okay. Example 3.5.2, we are given here cosine alpha is equal to 3 over 5 and sine beta is equal to 12 over 13, where alpha lies in quadrant 4 and beta in quadrant 1. So we are to find cosine alpha plus beta. Okay, so alpha lies in quadrant 4 and beta lies in quadrant 1. Okay, so for cosine alpha, we are given that it is 3 over 5. So in this case, we are to find sine alpha. So we learned last time that sine alpha is equal to 1 minus cosine alpha, cosine squared alpha, right? So replacing the cosine squared alpha with 3 over 5, so we have 1 minus 3 over 5 squared, which give us an answer of 1 minus 9 over 25. So getting the LCD, so it should be 25 divided by 1 times 1 is 25 minus 9. So we can get the value of sine alpha, which is the square root of 16 over 25. And this will be plus minus, the square root of 16 is 4 and the square root of 25 is 5. So this will be sine alpha. And since sine alpha is in quadrant 4, so in quadrant 4, your cosine is positive and your sine is negative. So that is why we are going to use negative sign instead of positive. So we have to disregard the sign which is positive. Therefore, we can say sine alpha equals negative 4 over 5 because it's in quadrant 4. Okay, we have already sine alpha. Next is sine beta. Sine beta is equal to 12 over 13. So to find cosine beta, it should be the square root of 1 minus sine squared beta. Okay, so replacing sine beta with 12 over 13, so it should be 1 minus 12 over 13 squared. And simplifying, this will now equal to 1 minus 144, the square of 12 over 169. So getting the LCD, which is 169 divided by 1 times 1 is 169 minus 144. So 9 minus 4 is 525. So we have the square root of 25 over 169. So your cosine beta is equal to positive negative 5 over 13. Okay, since beta is in quadrant 1, therefore cosine beta must be positive 5 over 13. Okay, so to find cosine alpha plus beta, this will be the same as cosine alpha, cosine beta, by plus mano minus to dire, sine alpha, sine beta. Iyon. So this will be equal to 3 over 5 for cosine alpha, 5 over 13 for cosine beta, minus negative 4 over 5 for sine alpha, and 3 sine beta is 12 over 13. So simplifying, this will give us 15 over 65. And this one, 4 times 12, negative times negative times 4 times 12, that would be positive 48 over 65. And since they have the same sign, therefore we are going to add them. 15 plus 48 is equal to 63 over 65. So that is cosine alpha plus beta. Okay, so that's example 3.5.2. Okay, so let us now proceed to the cofunction identities. We have cosine pi over 2 minus b is equal to sine b. Then sine pi over 2 minus b is cosine b. Then tangent pi over 2 minus b is cotangent b. So please na naman po go over sa inyong notes sa module, sa akong ipang print o sa book about how we arrive this formula, ha? Kaya din na discuss, kaya ang purpose radyo is to discuss to you what are the different examples. Okay? So it is your job now to find or to read and study how na arrive ng mga formulas if you are interested. So we have sine sum identity. If we are going to get the value of sine alpha plus sine A plus B is the same as sine A cosine B cosine A plus cosine A sine B. Whereas kung difference po, sine A minus B is the same as sine A cosine B minus cosine A sine B. Kung ang ganina, ang cosine is cosine sin, ang sine na po is sin cosine. Diba? Kung ang sum ganina sa cosine, pag positive diha, negative dere, ang sign is same. Sign, same dyan na. So, plus diha, plus pagkadere. Minus ka diha, minus pagkadere. Diba? Sign gani, sin cosine. Cosine gani, cosine sin. Okay? Na-memorize na. Sige, let's proceed to example 3.5.3. Okay, so we have to find the exact value of sine 5 pi over 12. 5 pi over 12. So, unsa yung mga functions na pwede na to combine in order to get 5 pi over 12. So, let us try pi over 4 and pi over 6. Diyan ni ganina, no? So, if we are to get the LCD, we have 3 pi na nino. Kaya 12 divided by 4 is 3 times pi is 3 pi. Then 12 divided by 6 is 2 times pi is 2 pi. So, motong ganina, o atong isubtract, we can arrive at pi over 12. Kay karon kay 5 man. So, atong siyang i-add. Therefore, ang 5 pi over 12 ay can be simplified as sine 5 pi over 12 is similar to sine of pi over 4 plus pi over 6. Okay? So, okay, plus man sa sine, ang sarang ganito, it should be sine pi over 4 sin, cos, then kay plus na, so plus po dire. Cos na pod, pi over 4, then sin. No? Sin, cos, cosine. Okay? So, ang i-drawing diri balik ang circle kunawa. So, mani ang pi over 4 yung part with coordinates square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2, then pi over 6 is here, wherein ang imong x is square root of 3 over 2, and the y or sine is 1/2. Okay? So, replacing the value, sine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. Cosine of pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2. Plus cosine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. Then sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. So, simplifying, we can get square root of 6 over 4 plus square root of 2 over 4, or it could be similar to square root of 6 plus square root of 2 all over 4. So that's the answer for 3.5.3. Okay, let's proceed now to example 3.5.4. So we are given that if sine alpha is 3 over 13 and sine beta is 1/2, where alpha is greater than 0 but less than pi over 2, and beta is greater than pi over 2 but less than pi. Find sine alpha plus beta and sine beta plus alpha. Okay, so when we say beta is between 0 and pi over 2, asa man nga quadrant? 0 and pi over 2. It is in quadrant 1. Diba? Kaana man to. Diba? This is 0. Mauna din hidapita ang pi over 2. This is pi. And this is 3 pi over 2. So that's why when we say beta is between pi over 2 and pi, so that means it's in quadrant 2. Okay. So we are given that sine alpha is 3 over 13. And then sine beta is equal to 1/2. Okay, first thing to do is to find cosine alpha. So cosine alpha is equal to the square root of 1 minus sine squared alpha. Alright, sine squared alpha is 3 over 13, so that's why we can now have 1 minus 3 over 13 squared. And this will give us a value of 1 minus 9 over 169. So, it should be the square root of 169 ang LCD. So, 169 would be minus 9. Then, ang answer is 160 over 169. Then 160 can be simplified as 16 times 10. So that's why the square root of 16 is plus minus 4 square root of 10 all over 13. Okay, so that will be our cosine alpha. And since it is in quadrant 1, alpha is in quadrant 1, therefore, your cosine alpha is positive 4 square root of 10 all over 13. Okay. So, what about cosine beta? Cosine beta, oh no, cosine beta, yeah. If we are going to find cosine beta. So, cosine beta is equal to the square root of 1 minus sine squared beta, in which substituting sine beta with 1/2, so we have 1 minus the square of 1/2, which is equal to 1 minus 1/4. So this will be 3/4, diba? Square root of 3/4. So a plus minus the square root of 3 all over 2. Since beta is in quadrant 2, your cosine there in quadrant 2 is positive, negative. Okay, it's negative. So cosine beta is equal to negative square root of 3 over 2. Okay, so since we have already sine alpha, cosine alpha, sine beta, and cosine beta, so kompleto na ta. So therefore, we have sine alpha plus beta is equal to sine alpha sin cos, cosine beta, positive, so positive to me, cosine alpha sine beta, which is equal to 3 over 13. Cosine beta is negative square root of 3 over 2 plus cosine alpha is 4 square root of 10 over 13, and then sine beta is 1/2. So simplifying further, the answer here is negative 3 square root of 3 over 26 and plus 4 square root of 10 over 26. Or this can be similar to 4 square root of 10 minus 3 square root of 3 all over 26. Atong ipauna ang positive ang 4 square root of 10 minus. Okay, so this is the value of sine alpha, may a plus beta. So plus dyan. So kung minus na for the second one, sine alpha minus beta, ato na lang ng i-reason. Okay? Pwede rin no. So ato ng i-reason dere. Kani po. Kani. Parang parihara. So we have alpha minus beta. So kung minus man, minus ni, minus. Therefore, it's minus with me. So minus with me. So ang answer, 4 square root of 10. Then, sin of, ay, 10 pa, 5, beta minus alpha, manday natin pa, itong usbon. At ang nalang manday ng erosion. Sorry, okay. Yung number, kainan ho, beta minus alpha minus beta. Beta minus alpha, manday ni. Okay, so we have sine beta minus alpha. Alpha minus beta. Okay? We have sine beta, cosine alpha, then cosine beta, sine alpha. Sin, cos, cosine, then minus, minus. Okay. Sine beta is 1/2. Cosine alpha is 4 square root of 10 over 13. Then cosine beta is negative square root of 3 over 2. Then sine alpha is 3 over 13. So simplifying, it should be 4 square root of 10 over 26 plus square root of cosine beta. Okay, so 3 square root of 3 square root of 3 over 26. Okay, so that's why the final answer is 4 square root of 10 plus 3 square root of 3 all over 26. Okay, so that is the value of sine beta minus alpha. Okay, that's the answer for example 3.5.4. Okay, let's proceed to example 3.5.5. We are to prove that sine of x plus y is equal to quantity 1 plus cotangent x tangent y sine x cosine y. Okay, in this case, murag mas nindot ni nga kani diri nga right side may atong i-simplify na mapareha sa left side. Okay? So, quantity 1 plus cotangent x tangent y sine x cosine. In order to simplify, we need to distribute this one to every term inside the parentheses. It will be sine x cosine y times 1 is equal to sine x cosine y. Then plus, kaning duha, i-times mo ani, it should be cotangent x, tangent y, then sine x, cosine y. Okay. Simplifying the second quantity and copy sine x cosine y. Okay, then replace cotangent and tangent with, or express them in terms of sine and cosine. So cotangent is cosine x over sine x. And then tangent y is sine y over cosine y times sine x cosine y. So in this case, since multiplication man, we can cancel the sine x and sine x, then cosine y and cosine y. So ang nahibilin karon is sine x cosine y plus cosine x sine y. So ano mo dyan? Sin, cos, cosine. Diyan kay plus man. So meaning it should be sine x plus y. Okay? So that's all for 3.5.5. And we have also tangent sum and difference identity. The tangent A plus tangent A plus B is the same as tangent A plus tangent B all over 1 minus tangent A tangent B. While tangent A minus B is the same as tangent A minus tangent B, 1 plus tangent A tangent B. So kung plus gani na dire, plus ang numerator minus ang denominator, and minus then plus. Okay, so be familiarized with the different identities we have. Those are very useful in proving and inserting identities. So let us now proceed to more solved problems. Okay. Number 1 is given cosine A equals negative 3 over 5, wherein A is between pi and 3 pi over 2. Tangent B is 7 over 24. B is in quadrant 1. We are to find sine A plus B, cosine A plus B, and tangent A plus B. Okay, so since A is between pi and 3 pi over 2, yung sa mga quadrant. So it is in quadrant 3. Diba? Ito ba? Quadrant 3. And tangent B is 7 over 4, 24, wherein B is in quadrant 1. That is why tangent B is positive. Okay. So, since we are given that cosine A is equal to negative 3 over 5, ato sang pangitaon si sine A, diba? Which is the square root of 1 minus cosine squared A. So this will be the same as 1 minus negative 3 over 5 squared. So it is equal to the square root of 1 minus 9 over 25. So 25 minus 9, we have 25 minus 9 over 25, or that would be equal to plus minus the square root of 16 over 25. So sine A is equal to, quadrant 3, so minus 4 over 5. Okay. The next given is we have tangent B equals 7 over 24. So using x squared plus y squared equals 1, we have, or r squared, so our y is 7 and our 20, the y is 7 and 24 is x, kay tangent is y over x, or sine over cosine. So your x there is 24 squared plus 7 squared. So 24 squared is 576 plus 49. So we can have 625 equals your r squared. So your r here is 5. Okay. 5 to 25, sorry. R is 25, the square root of 625. So this means that your sine beta is equal to 7 over 25. And then cosine beta is equal to 24 over 25. So I think you correct your notes sa inyong notes and copy nga since it is given that beta is in quadrant 1, dapat si sine beta o si cosine beta must be positive sila puro. Nakabutang dire sa book kay negative man silang duha kay na ako no ang beta in quadrant 3, but in the given it's quadrant 1, so it should not be negative, dapat puro sila positive. Okay, so I do hope na klaro na nato. Okay, for A, we are to solve sine alpha, sine A plus B, right? Okay, so sine A plus B is sin A, cos B, positive man, so positive ka, positive cos A, sin B. Sin, cos, cosine. Then replacing sin A with negative 4 over 5. Cosine B is 24 over 25 plus cosine A, which is negative 3 over 5, and sine B is 7 over 25. So thus it would be 24 times 4 is 1696. It's negative 96. Negative 96 over 125. Then minus 21 over 125. So they are both negative. So therefore, if we are going to add them, it should be equal to 117 over 125 negative. So, ang dito sa book, positive, kaya it's in quadrant 3 man siya. Okay? What about B? B is cosine A plus B, which is similar to cosine A, cosine B, then plus mana, so it should be minus sine A, then sine B. Wherein your cosine A is negative 3 over 5. Your cosine B is 24 over 25. Minus sine A is negative 4 over 5. Then sine B is 7 over 20. Okay, so we want to simplify. Negative 3 times 24 is negative 72 over 125. Then minus, so it should be plus 28 over 125. So if we are going to subtract them by different signs man, so 12 minus 8 is 4, then 6 minus 2 is 4 over 125. Since dako sa 72, so therefore it should be negative 44 over 125. Okay, so wa mamao sa atong book kay magyapon to. Negative man dyan sine beta and cosine beta. And lastly, we have tangent A plus B. So, pwede dili na kamo use ato nga formula. Pwede kayo mong gamiton is sine A plus B over cosine A plus B. Ang imong sine kay negative 117 over 125 man over negative 44 over 125. Okay, thus we can cancel the 1 to 5 and then ang negative pod, so therefore ang imong tangent would be 117 over 125. Okay? So, since negative man imong sine o cosine, so ang imo de ang alpha or A plus B is also in quadrant 3. Naas quadrant 3. Negative man ni, negative po na. Okay? So, kung ang alpha naa sa quadrant 3 o ang beta naa sa quadrant 1, ang imo po nung alpha plus beta na sa quadrant 3 by looking at the answer kung si sine sa sine alpha plus beta o cosine alpha plus beta. So, forma na sila negative. So, naada ipod siya sa quadrant 3. Okay, so that is solved example number 1. Ay, time pa, na correction ha. Na-cancelled out na to ang 125. So, this is 144 di ay. Sorry. So, ang answer di ay ane is na 117 over 44. Pareha gihapon sila. Og answer there is a book. Pero, positive, lahi naman ta sa A o sa B. No? Kay pareha man nga ang quadrant 3 o ang quadrant 1, pareha sila tangent. Ang tangent nila din is positive. Okay? So, that's all. Okay, let's proceed to example number 2. We are to find the exact value of cosine 5 pi over 12. So, if we are going to use over 3 over 4, so, unsa may imong buhaton? Diba? Ang LCD kay 12 months, so 12 divided by 3, 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 over 3 and 5 over 4, 3. 4 and 3. So, di na out. So, manang magamit ka og 2 kay around 4 and 1. And sa imong minuson, aron makuha ng 5, 5. So, manang magamit ka og 2 og 1, 5. Okay. So, more on trial and error ta ani. So, magamit tag 2 pi over 3. So, ang imong buhaton, mag-LCD mong tag 12. So, 12 divided by 3 is 4 times 2 is 8. Then, 12 divided by 4 is 3 times pi is 3 pi. So, imong minuson para mahimong 5. Okay? So, kay cosine man, minus, so it should be cosine 2 pi over 3. So, cos pi over 4. Then, minus na plus sine 2 pi over 3. Sin, cos, sin, sine pi over 4. Okay, so ang sa may cosine of 2 pi over 3. Okay, 2 pi over 3 is 2 over 2, 4 pi over 6. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, so muna 1, 2, 3, 4. Ano siya ang 2 pi over 6. 2 pi over 6, 4 pi over 6, or 2 pi over 3. So, cosine there is negative 1/2. Then, ang cosine of pi over 4, ang nastunga, is we have square root of 2 over 2. Plus sine of 2 pi over 3 is square root of 3 over 2 times square root of 2 over 2. Okay. So, we can now have negative square root of 2 over 4 plus square root of 6 over 2. Over 4 over 2. Okay, then get the LCD. Pariharaman. Then, interchange na itong placement para positive atong mag-una. So, meaning, ang value is square root of 6 minus square root of 2 all over 4. For we have number 2 solve problem. Okay, so that's all for number 2. Thank you. Let's proceed to number 3. Okay, number 3 is if a plus b equals pi over 2 plus 2k pi, wherein k is any integer, prove that sine A is equal to cosine B. Okay, so in this case, we have A. Gustong subo ng A. Pwede na pero B. Pero ang ganahan ko sa A. So, ang A di is equal to pi over 2 plus 2k pi. Okay? So, if we are going to use sine A, this is similar to quantity, sine pi over 2 plus 2k pi minus b. So, this will be the same as kay sine man minus usara man ang A man eh. Diba? Ang imong sine A minus B. And this will be equal to sine pi over 2 plus 2k pi sin cos beta minus cosine pi over 2 plus 2k pi sin cos cosine sine beta. Okay? So, if we are to recall, what is sine of pi over 2? Sine of pi over 2 is baba 1 times cosine beta minus cosine of pi over 2 is 0 times sine beta. Then, sine A, therefore, equals cosine B because this is equal to 0. Okay, so that is number 3. Let's proceed to number 4. Okay, for number 4, we are to find the value of tangent 10 degrees, tangent 15 degrees, times tangent 20 degrees, tangent 15 degrees, and so on until tangent 55 degrees, tangent 70 degrees, tangent 75 degrees, tangent 80 degrees. Okay, from the previous item, we know that sine is equal to cosine of 90 degrees minus theta. So, we write each tangent in terms of sine and cosine. So, manang ang kani, mahimo na ning sine, sine 10 over cosine 10. I-replace na ng tanan, and then, ang answer ko no nana is 1. Okay, so that's all for number 4. So, let's proceed to number 5. If A, B, and C are angles of triangle, and tangent A, tangent B, tangent C is equal to negative square root of 3 over 3. Find tangent A plus tangent B plus tangent C. Okay, so we'll learn that in an angle, in a triangle, the sum of the 3 angles is equal to 180. So therefore, angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equal to 180. And then, tangent of A plus B plus C is equal to tangent of 180 degrees. So, tangent in 180 na to kay dire man sa pi. So, sine over cosine. Sine here is 0. Ang atong cosine is 1. So, therefore, tangent of 180 is equal to 0. So, that means tangent of A plus tangent of B plus C is equal to 0 also. And that this one can be simplified to tangent A plus tangent of B plus tangent C all over 1 minus tangent B tangent C. So, na dito sa identity na equals 0 gihapon. Then, getting the LCD here is 1 minus tangent B tangent C divided by 1 here times tangent A. It would be equal to tangent A minus tangent A, tangent B, tangent C. Ito kani divide nimo sa 1 times sa tangent A. So, tangent A times 1 is tangent A. Tangent A times kaning duha becomes tangent A, tangent B, tangent C. Then, copy tangent B plus tangent C equals 0. Okay, so this is 0 over 1. Then, by cross multiplication, what remains in the left side is tangent A minus tangent A, tangent B, tangent C, plus tangent B plus tangent C equals 0. Okay, so since we need to find tangent A plus tangent B plus tangent C, can we suggest to transpose to the other side? So that's why we have tangent A plus tangent B plus tangent C is equal to tangent A, tangent B, tangent C. And we know that in the given, kana silang tulo, the product of the three, can you see siya, is equal to the square root, the negative square root of 3 over 3. So that's why tangent A plus tangent B plus tangent C is equal to negative square root of 3 over 3. Parehar gihapon. Okay, so this is the answer for number 5. And lastly, for number 6, we are going to establish the identity sine alpha plus beta over cosine alpha minus beta be equal to tangent A, tangent alpha plus tangent beta all over 1 plus tangent alpha tangent beta. So, in this case, ato buhaton, ang atong left side, kani dire, may atong simplify to get the right side. Okay? So, numerator is equal to sine A cosine B plus cosine A sine B all over cosine A cosine B kay minus man plus kano plus sine A sine B. Okay? Then, para mo arrive tag tangent-tangent, atong i-multiply ang both numerator and denominator with 1 over cosine A o sine, cosine A o cosine B over 1 over cosine A o cosine B. Okay? That's why ang numerator kani siya mag-over na dyan na. Sine A cosine B over cosine A cosine B times plus cosine A sine B over cosine A cosine B. Ang denominator po becomes cosine A cosine B over cosine A cosine B plus sine A sine B over cosine A cosine B, which can be simplified. Kanina ay makancel cosine B. Sine A over cosine A is tangent A plus dire makancel po ang cosine, so it's tangent B over cancel ni tanan 1, then plus kani cancel dire kani is tangent A then tangent mauna akong po. Okay, so that's all for topic 15 part 2, and we will continue topic 16 later. Breaks at tagamay. Thank you for listening. I do hope you learned something today. Bye!